This afternoon, we will execute the concepts we have discussed this morning. The trainer said, so be back on time. Dismissed. In the morning, we had a lot of didactics of the survival training. To me, it all seemed like common sense, but I'm not eating anything with more than 4 legs and smaller than a chicken. We went to lunch together as a group to the chow hall. A couple of us were in the same unit, but we didn't know each other that well. It seems in the military there's a quick intimacy with people. Within minutes, we were laughing and joking with one another. We followed the trainer in a single line. The chlorine met you at the door. In front of us was an Olympic-sized swimming pool with the back end of a C-130 military transport aircraft hanging over the edge of the pool, with its rear end cut off. Stay in your jumpsuit because we're simulating an airplane crash over water. Grab a life jacket, and no, you are not taking off your flight suits. Would you be taking off your flight suit if you were in a crash? We grabbed the orange life jackets, put it on, and jumped into the water. I loved water. I just never learned to swim. I come from the concrete jungle of New York City. The fire hydrants were open to keep us cool on hot summer days. Once in a while, I would go to Jones Beach with family and friends. I would jump the waves, I tried to float, and I would sink like a rock. The trainer divided the 12 of us into patients, medics, raft setup crew, and a cleanup crew on the aircraft. We conducted vital signs on the patients. Then there was a sound in the background. The aircraft has gone down and we have to evacuate the aircraft right now. The medics jumped out of the aircraft one after the other. Then I stood there at the door of the C-130 making a mental checklist to see if there was anything that I had missed. While I was going through the process in my head, just standing at the door of the aircraft, I was holding up others from evacuating. I stood there with tunnel vision, trying to figure out what I had missed. The next thing I knew, I felt a hand on my back, and it pushed me out. I plunged into 10 feet of water and went down for the first time. I tried to gasp for air, thrashing around, trying to reach for the surface of the water. I went down the second time, or was it the third time? I felt engulfed by the calm, and the quiet enveloped me. This will be the day that I die. I think that was a song. I felt myself surrender to what was happening. I stopped struggling. As I sank, a hand reached into the water and grabbed the back of my life jacket. Everyone grabbed me and pulled me in. I slumped into the life raft, gasping for air. The trainer was at the edge of the far end of the pool, screaming, pointing, waving for me to come over to him. Bailey, bring your ass over here right now. I flopped over the side of the raft and doggy paddled over to him. He looked down at me. You don't know how to swim. I shook my head. You are the bravest person I have ever seen in my life, the trainer said. Blow up your life jacket and get back into the raft. I floated back over to the raft. What did he say? My classmates asked me. He told me to blow up my life jacket is what I told them. Fast forward 15 years after this experience is when I was learning to swim. At the last session, we were going to dive into the water and swim a lap. Again, I was the last person to go. I stood by the edge of the pool and told myself, jump in. It's okay. You won't drown. Just jump. Everyone is watching you. I screamed at myself. I stood there frozen, and it didn't seem like I was listening to myself. So I focused on the instructor and jumped. I guess in the end of survival training, what I learned was to be afraid of water. One of the veterans, she had already attended the class and she said, you were very good. So I was like, okay, I can do that. Everybody made me feel comfortable. I was one of 3 women that were in the group. I think it surprised me that that was probably the first session I cried at, too. We were processing going into the military, and I was leaving my 2 sons at the time. So that surprised me that was there. It was cathartic to me. I mean, I'm also, being a counselor myself and go to counseling and whatnot like that. That that was almost a processing for me to unpack some of the stuff that I hadn't unpacked in over 30 years. So it's kind of like accountability as well, to get the writing out there, to get it done. And I can procrastinate. So I think this has made me kind of speed up the plan of getting it done instead of waiting till I actually retire and then do writing. I can do it while I'm still living. It's been a while since I thought about that. So it was one of those things that kind of popped up because I've been, looking at um, writing about a memoir or something like that, writing the experience in the military, being a female vet, and knowing how powerful that is, as well as looking at the social work side of it. What did it take to do what I did? So I figured there was some stuff in there that I could use, and it gave me opportunity to kind of a platform, and to write it and to do better. I do think it's therapeutic, but it's not therapy. Processing what happened, and I think the topics that we have, everybody can bring something to the table, and a lot of us we have different experiences, and it's good to hear. Or when we wrote about leaving the military, and it was different eras and different things were going on, but a lot of it was still the same. It's still that coming out of the military and now what, and to have to look at reinventing yourself. And so I think, for someone who's just getting out of the military, I think it would be pretty powerful to unpack what you were and now looking at it and saying, what are you going to go or where are you going to go next? It helps you with that, you know. But it doesn't have to be because I can write about anything I want to. And 9 times out of 10, I do. So.